Hi, and welcome to number 9 and technically number 10 in this series of Cheltenham anti-post chats with the bookies foe. This week we're going to cover both the Mares Novices hurdle and the Supreme hurdle. So starting obviously with that first race I just mentioned, the Mares Novices hurdle, which is quite a relatively new race to the Cheltenham card, isn't it?
It is, Pen. It is. It's very, very new. It's a new inception, and it's only been run 6 times, and it's been dominated by the Irish. Would you believe? Willie won it the first 5 years, and Henry won it last year with Tell Me Something Girl. She's now one of the favourites for the Mares Hurdle this year. So, they've really put a drive in the Mares section to, really put a push behind some of the Mares races, and it's really been a positive result. It's had a really positive effect. Lorena won it in 2018. She went on to run in a champion hurdle, and she went off favourite for a champion hurdle. Concertista won it in 2020, but she was placed in the race in 2019. She went on now. She's favourite for the Mares Chase this year. I don't think she'd disgrace herself in a champion hurdle. So it's extremely strong what they're doing, and they're creating phenomenal mares. For example, the champion hurdle this year is dominated by mares. So it's a race I have a very bad record in. It's very, very hard, I find, to find the winner for myself. But so it's a great addition to the Cheltenham Festival. It really is.
Yeah. So looking at the market for this one, then it has been quite challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wide open. I think it's absolutely wide open. And again, I've said it before. The reason it is Willie and Nikki have been very late in bringing out their horses this season because of the problems they've had with their gallops. So, like Willie, we're looking at the market. Willie had a horse came out yesterday, was it? Called Dino Blue, and absolutely destroyed them by about 20 lengths. I'm surprised. I was half tempted to stick Dino Blue in as a selection for us, but 10-1 now she is for the Mares Novice. But I just think sometimes with this race, a bit of experience can help you. Like I said, Lorena Concertista coming back and running a second time, and so we leave Dino Blue alone. But she was very, very impressive. My God.
Do you want to go have a look at the 2 that you have selected?
Yeah, so the first one is, like I said, it's a minefield. It's an absolute minefield, this race, and subsequently there's loads of value. But it's very hard to put your angle across because it really is open. But the first horse we'll go for, and it stuck out like a sore thumb for me, was Joey O'Brien's Mighty Blue. And she is 25-1 in a place at the minute for the race. Now, I'm taking the Concertista angle here. She ran in the race last year and she was 3rd. Ran a very, very good race to finish 3rd behind Tell Me Something Girl, and Magic Days, I think, was 2nd. And I just think she's had a busy summer on her back on the flat.
Yeah.
She's only had 3 hurdle races, but she's had loads of experience racing. And if you go back and look at that Mares Novice last year, she came very wide round the bend and came up the straight, and she sort of finished 1 pace. But I just think with a cleverer ride this year, and hopefully Joey will be in decent form, I think she's way overpriced if she runs. And like I said, I really like the angle of coming back a second time like Concertisa did.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to stick her in at 25s as our first selection. Great. Mighty Blue, yeah.
I like that one. And then we've got Lady Adair.
Lady Adair, again, I've spent a lot of time in the race and a few jumped out, but Lady Adair was one. I think she's improved massively from her bumper run. And she won the last day at Utoxeter, and I just really liked the way she travelled and jumped, and she won as easy as she liked. But the reason I've selected her, okay, she's a massive price, and obviously value doesn't pay the bills, but she's 33-1. But there's a horse that was in behind her that day called Holly, that's owned by JP McManus, and I know that horse is a hugely, highly thought of horse, Holly, right? Now, Holly's only 20-1 for the Mare's Novice. And Lady Adair beat her easy that day. Lady Adair is 33s. Harry Fry, a young up-and-coming trainer, he's having a decent enough season. I think he's a 15% strike rate there at the minute. But I just like the way Lady Adair put Holly away that day, right?
Yeah.
By 14 lengths. Now, Holly has come out since on the 14th of December and absolutely hacked up at Wincanton by 7 lengths in a maiden hurdle. And I just think she's very underrated. I watched the race and visually I was very impressed. She's beaten this very highly rated horse very easily, and who has subsequently come out and won by 7 lengths. Now, I don't know who Holly beat at Wincanton. You know, she could have beaten nothing, but I just think Lady there could be overpriced. But it's a race that's wide open, and I think it's a market that's going to mature very, very late. And I think Willie and Nikki have novices sitting at home that haven't come out yet, and I know they've decent mares, and I just think, you know, you can only look at the market for what it is there at the minute. And, you know, I'm more excited with Mighty Blue, but I think Lady Adair is very overpriced, I think.
Oh, that's great.
And that's what we'll stick on the chart.
Brilliant.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
What we're going to do now, we'll move on to Supreme.
Yes.
And then we'll look at the chart last, okay? Just to keep things running nice and smoothly. So we've got the Supreme Novice hurdle now. Obviously, we've got Appreciate It last year.
Yeah.
Which I know you had some thoughts on.
Well, I personally didn't give Appreciate It a chance last year, not because of the type of horse he is or his ability, but because of his age and stats wise. But people are going, oh, he won at 7. He was a 7-year-old winner. But there's 2 things you have to take from it. Was a COVID festival last year. There was no crowds. There was only 8 or 9 runners in a Supreme. It wasn't a proper Supreme. If you're a stats man, you need to look at last year's festival and just ignore it. Just ignore the whole thing. And you know, in a normal year, I don't think Appreciate It would have won that race. And it sounds mad, but I am sticking to that. Now, Appreciate It's going to go as an 8-year-old. If he goes for a novice chase, I will oppose him again. But apparently he's injured. So personally, I would have sent him for the champion hurdle, but he's injured, I believe. So anyway, look, we'll change the subject back to the Supreme.
Does this mean that you've looked for sort of younger horses than a 7-year-old then, making your selections?
For a Supreme, you need to be 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know, the stats tell you that, and they back it up over many, many years.
Yeah.
You need to be 5 or 6. And, you know, if you take that view, you can narrow down the field very, very easily. But just looking at the market here, I'm really excited here because I think this market is false. I think it is a bookie's dream, this market. You have Constitution Hill, who is 15-8 in a place. Actually, 7-4. There was a bookmaker yesterday had priced him up at 7-4 for a Supreme Novice hurdle, based on a point-to-point defeat and 2 easy wins at Sandown. He's not been tested. He's not had to come off the bridle. He's not had to battle yet in his life, and yet he's 15-8 for a Supreme Novice hurdle. Wow. The only time he's gone left-handed, he was beaten. And he was beaten by a very low-grade handicapper, if you look at that horse now. Was going to win that race easily, but stumbled at the last, and this horse went past. But Constitution Hill could not battle back and beat a low-grade handicapper. So he's subsequently been sent to Nicky. He's won very impressively twice at Sandown. Yesterday was very impressive, and a few weeks ago was the same. But he's beaten nothing. He's beaten well thought of handicappers. You know, they're not graded horses he's beaten. He's beaten them on the bridle on very heavy ground, which can, when you win on heavy ground, it can exaggerate the performance. And I just think left-handed, 20 runners, half decent ground against proper grade 1 horses, I'm going to lay him for a place. Because I'm not sure he wants to go left-handed. I'm not sure he's going to enjoy decent ground, and I think he's a horrendous price. So I will be opposing Constitution Hill. Now, I believe he's a very good horse, don't get me wrong, but his price is all wrong. John Bon, sorry, go on. You're going to say something.
You're all right. I was just going to ask, do you want me to move on to your 2 horses that you have selected? But that's all right.
No, I will do, but I'll just go down through the market and just describe this race. This race is a fake. It's a market. It's a false market. John Bon. There's also rumours, by the way, with Constitution Hill that he may well go for the Ballymore. You know, he may not run in the Supreme. You know, and there's people flooding in going, he's a machine. He can't be beaten. 15-8. John Bon is the same stable. Nicky Henderson, again, owned by JP, has been very visually impressive so far. Before I say anything more about him, I just want to bring him up there just to back up what I'm saying. But as far as I'm concerned, John Bon, again, has not really been tested. For a track like Cheltenham, like he's won at Newbury, flat track, Newbury again, flat track, Ascot, right-handed flat track. He's unbeaten. He's been very impressive up to now, but I have more than enough. He's half-brother to Duvan, you know, who, my God, it's a shame he got injured and I think he would have been an absolute legend, I really do. But anyway, he reminds me of his brother a lot, with a lot of his sort of mannerisms on the race course, but he hasn't done it on a track like Cheltenham properly. His point-to-point win was on a similar track to Cheltenham, but it's like he's done nothing to tell me he should be. What price is he? 11-4 for a Supreme. Like, he's done nothing to back that up. Okay. Then you've Sir Gerhardt, who's 5-1, who won the bumper last year, the festival, and so we know he loves Cheltenham. Has done well over hurdles so far. Looks really good. Can he win a Supreme? Yeah, he probably can. Is he a 5-1 shot? Not on your Nelly. Is he a 5-1 shot? I would lay the 3 principles for a place. I'd lay the 3 of them. So you can go down through it, and then all of a sudden you're getting really decent prices. But you've Mighty Potter, who we're going to talk about in a minute. Facile Vega is going to go for the bumper. Dysart Dynamo apparently is going for the Ballymore. And then you're going down, and you're just looking at handicappers. You're looking at horses that haven't even made their debut this season yet. And it's a false market. So we'll go on to the 2 we have chosen.
There you go. So you've got 2 there. You've got El Fabiolo.
Yeah.
And
then Mighty Potter. I'll talk about Mighty Potter first. Mighty Potter, for me, fits the profile of a Supreme Novice hurdle winner.
Okay.
If we go back to the race at Fairyhouse, the Royal Bond, and it's quite strange because I'm the horse that won the Royal Bond is a mare, and we haven't selected her for the Mare's Novice, because I think that was a weak race, and then that sort of makes me look like I'm contradicting myself because I'm selecting a horse that she beat for the Supreme Novice, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you why. Mighty Potter keeps catching my eye. And he's been very unlucky in his races. He keeps getting outpaced and he stays on like a train, keeps getting into trouble, keeps getting into traffic problems, but it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah.
The run at Fairyhouse where he was beaten and he was third in the Royal Bond. As soon as I saw that, I went Supreme Novice Hurdle. Was massively keen early on, was pulling for his head. Brian Cooper was holding on to him for the first half of the race. So when horses do that, Pen, right, they exhaust a lot of energy when they do that. The horse wants to go a lot faster and the jockey is pulling him back. Yeah. So you're exhausting a lot of energy. So some jockeys then tend to just let them go. And sometimes that can be a really good tactic. But Brian was holding on to him. He jumped quite well. He was efficient over his jumps, but he got into traffic problems as well. So in a grade 1, for the first mile, he was pulling for his head, got into traffic problems. Between the last two, he was about 8 or 9 lengths back. And over the last, he absolutely flew. And he nearly won the race, won by statuaire. Now, I believe that Royal Bond is a weak Royal Bond, but Mighty Potter has huge excuses for losing that race. So he then came out over Christmas in December. Or, sorry, at Leopardstown. He came out over, we know Christmas in December. He came out over Christmas at Leopardstown, and he duly went and won his grade 1 in the Future Champions Novice, beating Three Stripe Life, Far Out, and Grand G handy enough. He stumbled after the first, and I thought that was going to be the end of his race, but he picked up nice and he travelled well through the race, and he won it handy. He won it more handy than the length and a half victory would suggest. So I think Mighty Potter, because he's keen and he obviously wants a stamina test from the way he finished the Fairyhouse that day, there's going to be 16, 18, 20 runners in this. They're going to go a million miles an hour. I can see him sitting out the midfield towards the back, and I can just see him picking them off, and he will fly up that hill. And I am one of the most exciting entries on our chart. Mighty Potter, 14-1 in a place. Lovely. I think that's a mad price. If you look at the horses above him in the market, some of them aren't even going to run. I don't like the 3 favourites, and I just think he's sticking out a mile at 14-1. So I'm more than happy to take him.
Great. And then we've got El Fabiolo.
El Fabiolo is a funny one, but when I watched him, he won over the Christmas. When was it? What was it? New Year's Day?
New Year's Day, yeah.
New Year's Day. He made his debut for Willie that day, and usually to win a Supreme, you need to be a bit battle hardened or whatever, But Willie has had a few big prize winners at the Supreme. If you go down over the years, I'll just look at it now. I remember there was a grey horse years ago, and I remember watching him going, oh, he looks like a nice horse. And then he came out and won the Supreme at a massive price. Eba Zion. No, was it Eba Zion? Oh, was it Eba Zion? Eba Zion, yeah, in 2007. So Willie's no stranger to bringing these horses and winning this race at a big price. They don't all have to be Vautours or Duvans or what was that other one he had? Champagne Fevers, So what I did notice about El Fabiolo the other day, he could have gone around again. Jumped like a bunny. He absolutely jumped like a bunny. He did. Won by 13 lengths. Hadn't had a run for 472 days. So a year and a half he hadn't even had a run, and he looked like he could have gone around again.
Wow.
I think this is gonna be an absolute weapon of a horse pen. So my thoughts would be possibly they'll run him in the Dublin Racing Festival. and then he'll be nicely primed for the Supreme.
Yeah.
And I think it, like I said again, if you look at the market, it's false. It's a false market.
Mm.
You know, the horses in ahead of him in the market, half of them are not going to run, and I don't like the favourites. I like them as horses. I don't like them for this race.
No.
So El Fabiolo is 20-1 in a place, and I'm delighted to take them.
Yeah. Shall we have a look at the chart?
Yeah.
There we go, filling up nicely.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know towards the end we are going to have a little bit of a reshuffle and that.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I think it's anything sticking out that you're not happy with, or
yeah, I will highlight. Obviously, Envoy now isn't looking great for the Gold Cup. As far as I'm aware, I've been told in the last few days that Aspire Tower is injured. So for the Arkle, that's not looking great. She Wears It Well, who fell that day, will probably now run in the Mares Hurdle, so that's not looking great. The Big Getaway. Time is ticking for him. There's no entries. So that's not looking great either, Penn, you know. I'm hopeful Gaia de Menil will come back over hurdles. He was disappointing over fences. But if you look at it, you know, what we're doing is with the big prices we're putting up, you know, you're obviously taking the risk of you know, taking big hits.
Yeah.
But if like, to give you an example, if Burning Victory comes out and wins, that's it. The chart has made a profit.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's definitely going to go for the race, I think, now. If it rains, if we have a soft ground festival, she's going to win. And, you know, that's all you need. When you're playing at prices like this, you only need 1 or 2 winners to make a profit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm happy enough with Burning Victory and Queensbrook, by the way. But so the chart is, it's not very healthy, but it's not in a bad place either. We have, you know, when we've done it, we'll do a video of the reselection. So any horses that are not going to make it, we will reselect. And I will say is, as of now, if we lose any that we select from today, we're not going to take the £10 hit because they will be non-runner, no bet.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll only take the £10 hit for any horses selected before today.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And I'm confident the chart will bear a profit.
Great.
Yeah.
Have you made a decision on next week?
Yeah, I think we will go with the Ballymore.
Right.
I think the Supreme and the Ballymore now is beginning to take shape a little bit of who's going where.
Yeah.
And we'll have a stamp at the Ballymore next week. And
Great.
Again, it's a market it's very open, you know. So we'll be able to pluck out some big prices.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I look forward to that next week.
Okay, Pen. Good to hear from you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.